Very happy Monday to you all. Welcome to Futbol Americas. Here's Shaka Hislop. He is Hercules Gomez. Together they are business casual. It's every time.
Business casual Monday.
This is
more than
this is upscale casual.
upscale.
What would you call
First
it?
time
then?
I've been called upscale, but I'll take it.
Anyway, Christian Pulisic coming back in style, scoring the winning goal in the Milan derby. And also we have Hugo Lloris, not super happy about the turf that he had to play on, but we'll get into that a little bit later. First, let's take a look at how Inter Miami fared versus Cincinnati. MLS playoffs, conference semifinals, and here was the first one already in the 18th minute. Who else, Herc, but Messi?
Yeah, I had this in my bingo card. Messi off a header? No, I did not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he gets him on the board.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a few in his career, but a handful. This was a handful too. Shaq, 57th minute, Matteo Silvetti doubles the lead.
Nice finish by Salvetti. Little Messi credited with the assist. But it's all about the finish from Salvetti coming in from that left-hand side.
I mean, he was playing with a lot of confidence. Allende was playing with a lot of confidence as well, Herc.
Yeah, what you don't want to do is give Lionel Messi time to scan the field and just thread. It's not even threading the needle, just so much space in between those lines, and Allende does well.
This is
Yeah.
special, though.
Oh, look at this.
That's the ball by Lionel Messi outside the left foot, perfectly into space. Allende doubles his tally, 4-0 into Miami.
This by Allende Shaq right here, cutting the angle, forcing the
It's a
defender.
really nice touch.
Yeah, forces the
Really
defender to either pull him down or let him go by. And well,
At least I got a Messi jersey out of it. FC Cincinnati out after some more Messi magic in the Eastern Conference semifinal. It's now 12 goal contributions in 2025. That's a record in a single MLS postseason. He's the first player with 3 assists in an MLS playoff game since Emmanuel Reynoso back in 2020. He's the third player with a 5-game scoring streak in MLS Cup playoffs history, including Carlos Ruiz and the Josie Altidore. With that, we will welcome in our Lizzie Mascherano. Lizzie, of course, you were there. You follow this team very closely. So the first question to you is, I know we've said so many things about Lionel Messi, but just what's been the reaction around what he's been able to do, which is essentially just break more records here with Inter Miami in the playoffs?
It's been really exciting for Inter Miami fans. Obviously, there was nervousness in that first round, whether Inter Miami could get over the hurdle, whether it was more of a mental game for them given how last season went. And ever since that decisive final game against Nashville, this team has been, quote unquote, from Mascherano, almost perfect. Now, fans know what Messi's capable of. They've seen it throughout the regular season. Not for nothing, he won the 2025 Golden Boot. So now it's more so about how Messi has been able to connect with this team, how he's been able to connect with Matteo Silvetti, who has only really played 7 games for Inter Miami since he joined in August, and how he's been able to foster that relationship with Tadeo Allende and turning that into a huge success for Inter Miami. So a lot of excitement. Not so much surprise for Messi, but now they're true frontrunners in MLS Cup, and it's no longer a mental game and more so one on the field.
Yeah, Shaq, and it seems that there was this shift, right? Because we know what Messi is capable of, but I know we've had several conversations about how his own teammates kind of can sort of keep up with him, which seems kind of impossible. But what Lizzie just said with Silvetti, with Allende, could this be the key that they finally click and maybe make it a little bit further this season?
Could be, and perfect timing. As Herc will know, winning an MLS Cup is all about timing and peaking at exactly the right time. Now, we spoke about Messi's magic last season. We spoke about Inter Miami and how great they were, yet stumbled at the final hurdle. Now, you just wondered if history was about to repeat itself. After losing that second game to Nashville, you just couldn't help but wonder, if not think it. And ever since, Inter Miami have just been almost unplayable. They have absolutely cruised since then. Lionel Messi at the heart of it, as you'd expect, but it's all about the supporting cast and how they are chipping in, how they are supporting Lionel Messi in his efforts. And Inter Miami right now, I don't think there's much debate to it, are playing the best football in the league.
We're burying the lead here, and I'm going to bury it with you guys. FC Cincinnati is one of the few teams that Lionel Messi had not scored in Major League Soccer. We were all curious about how Inter Miami and how Lionel Messi would react after not being, a couple weeks, if not more, in action, how that could stall their great form against Nashville. And they didn't miss a beat. In fact, Messi scores his goal, first time against FC Cincinnati, and he has a hat trick of assists. And it's this that I want to concentrate on. Matteo Silvetti's playing in place of Luis Suarez, and that's what I'm saying, we're burying the lead here. They trashed a team like FC Cincinnati, a team that's higher in the rankings, which is why they had to play in Cincinnati this game, and they did it with Luis Suarez on the bench.
Yeah.
They did it with Messi's strike partner on the bench, and that's no small thing because Mascherano has been accused of being part of the Messi and Friends crew. His resume before Inter Miami was very thin, very weak. He had a failed campaign with the U20s, and the only reason they went to that World Cup is because of political reason, and FIFA gave Argentina the tournament, and then he was there. It was a failed U23 tournament in the Olympics with Argentina, and somehow he still gets here and gets this job. Why? Because of Messi. So you would think he would never go against the grain when it comes to Messi and Friends, and yet he did. He went with Silvetti, not Luis Suarez, and it's where Messi looked best. It's where Messi and the team looked best, and today they're going to host a game against New York City FC because they played the right way.
Yeah, and that's where the conversation was going to lead here with Lizzie as well, to get it obviously into the Javier Mascherano and the comparison versus Tata Martino. But this was the starting 11, as Herc mentioned. Yeah, no Luis Suarez, and Messi just had obviously another dominant performance against, as Herc said, a team that he hadn't been super great against here against FC Cincinnati. Let's listen to the man himself, Javier Mascherano, and we'll keep talking here.
Claramente para mí no es una decisión fácil cuando tenés que sacar a un jugador como Luis, con su trayectoria, con la importancia que tiene en el equipo y en el club, pero también tengo que decir que es admirable cómo él tomó la decisión, ¿no? Porque bueno, lo hablamos en la semana, lo entendió, ayudó a sus compañeros, entrenó de la mejor manera, estuvo siempre detrás y creo que ha mostrado la grandeza que tiene como jugador y como persona.
Yeah, interesting words there from Javier Mascherano, and I'm sure it was difficult, Lizzie, but what ultimately went into this decision to sit Luis Suarez to kick things off?
Yeah, I first want to start off with a point that it's not just that Leo Messi hadn't scored against FC Cincinnati. In fact, Inter Miami hadn't beat FC Cincinnati in the regular season. They lost 3-0 at TQL Stadium and then tied 0-0 at Chase Stadium. So this was a huge feat for them coming into the match. Now, Mascherano spoke post-game saying that this game, FC Cincinnati as an opponent, required more of the skill set from Toto Silvetti and from Tadeo Allende. He wanted to manipulate spaces and really use speed to his advantage, and that was more so the skill set of the other players. And obviously they performed well, and it was a repeat of the attack we saw in the final game against Nashville, which obviously wasn't his decision. Suarez was going on a one-game suspension, and so he just repeated that. And to his point, this isn't the first time that Luis Suarez has played this kind of role in a team. We saw it last summer when he was with Uruguay in the Copa America. I mean, he came off as a substitute off the bench in the 67th minute in the semifinal against Colombia. So he knows how to be a role model. He knows how to be a mentor. And throughout the season, Mascherano has harps on the importance of Suarez as a player on and off the field. It's not just what he does against opponents, but more so what he does mentoring young players on the field, mentally during training, during the week. So this is Suarez as a player, and Mascherano was able to recognize that, but also do what's best for his starting 11 against FC Cincinnati.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see him kind of just waiting around and coming in the 75th minute here, Shaq. making this decision, holding him off until the 75th minute says what about Javier Mascherano as a manager?
I'll be honest. I thought it was an easy decision to make. In all honesty, Luis Suarez gets sent off in the loss to Nashville. The next game, Silvetti comes in. Allende play alongside Lionel Messi. You win 4-0. The game says you stick with that starting 11, and that's what Mascherano did against Cincinnati. And while yes, there was one change at right back. Free coming out, but other than that, you reward the players who won that last game against Nashville as convincingly as they did. You don't. You drop one of those two to bring in Luis Suarez. You definitely lose whoever misses out. If not, kind of a few others in that dressing room. So I think Mascherano did the only thing that a manager could in that situation. Now, Luis Suarez made that decision for him by getting sent off, and then the team responding as they did. Good to be able to call on Luis Suarez to come off the bench later on, give him the finisher that he is, give him the pro that he is. It's a good option to have, but in terms of starting 11, I don't think Mascherano changes it at all going forward.
We've seen this in world football. The game has dramatically changed. Mm-hmm. You can have a special player who maybe won't work defensively as much as the rest. But you can't have two. You cannot have two. And we see this at the highest of levels. You see Barcelona and how good they were last season, and defensively the struggles they even have in this season. That's not a defensive line issue. That's a front three issue. So if those front three aren't pressing, if you can't press the opponent in the way that the game deems today, you're going to suffer, especially against a team like FC Cincinnati that is very good in those transition moments. So you had to give the team legs. Silvetti, legs. Allende, legs. The players surrounding Messi are going to do some of that work for Messi. You can't have two players who need that work, that cover. So it was an easy decision, like Shaq said. Listen, it was a retroactive punishment. I'm sure that's not what Luis Suarez would have wanted, but it was the right call at the end of the day. So he's not here. I know Lizzie says he's done this before. Let's not forget, in Uruguay, that was the last of Luis Suarez and the problems he had with Marcelo Bielsa. I'm sure it's not a very easy decision, not at all, for a coach like Mascherano, who happens to be friends with Luis Suarez, who happens to be friends with Messi, Jordi Alba. It's a bitter pill to swallow for any athlete, knowing that your time is coming to an end. It happens to us all, Shaq. Mm-hmm. Father Time is undefeated. There comes a time when you understand that on the field, you're not going to be able to help your team in the same way you used to. And that's a hard thing to come to terms with.
It's the maturity, and it sounds weird to say it, right? But it's the maturity of the manager, of Javier Mascherano in this moment. It's the maturity from Luis Suarez to take it like Javier Mascherano says that he did. But speaking of these decisions and comparisons too, Lizzie, I mean, Inter Miami fans are naturally thinking about Tata Martino and what he wasn't able to do with this team versus what they're seeing now with Javier Mascherano. I mean, you've seen both sides of the coin. How are the fans doing now with Javier Mascherano versus what they lived with Martino at the time?
As Herc mentioned, before he came in, obviously his limited experience. This is the first time he ever coaches a club team. And the expectations were huge, not just because Inter Miami fans wanted success, but at the end of the day, because you're coaching Busquets, Jordi Alba, Leo Messi, and now obviously Rodrigo de Paul. So coming in, there was a lot of nervousness, a lot of criticism, and now I guess he's proven somewhat wrong. There's no trophy yet, and it's true that, as Mascherano said, as Jorge Mas said yesterday, nothing is done, nothing is accomplished until there's silverware in the cabinet. But he's actually led this team to various kind of heights during the season, something that Tata Martino couldn't do. I mean, in the beginning of the season, he led them to the CONCACAF Champions Cup semifinal. Tata Martino fell in the quarterfinal. He reached the final of Leagues Cup. He was the only one to lead an MLS team to the knockout round of the Club World Cup. And now, obviously, something Tata couldn't do in reaching this point of the playoffs. You could argue what Tata Martino accomplished and what Mascherano hasn't in silverware, but truthfully, through time, Mascherano is showing that he is capable of leading a team. He is capable of reaching heights. And with the decision of benching Suarez, that this isn't just a former FC Barcelona coaching his friends. He's not just another teammate of Messi. He's now a coach leading this team to what he thinks is success. And it's funny, yesterday, Jorge Mas was asked, do you think he's underappreciated? And he laughed and said, he's appreciated by me. So for now, that's all that's important. And fans are taking notice and reaching the Eastern Conference final. Technically, he's 90 minutes away from one kind of trophy and 2 games away from the ultimate trophy.
I mean, if Inter Miami Messi had pressure to lift Major League Soccer, MLS Cup, excuse me, before this game, the pressure is already doubled because they're going to be the favorites in this game. New York City FC is a lower seed. New York City FC just shocked the Support Shield champion. It won't be easy, but certainly given that it will be in Fort Lauderdale, in Messi's home, they're going to be heavily favored. And the expectation is to beat New York City FC and to face 2 or 3 right now, we're going to find out soon, very good opponents in the West. And one that I would say that if it is Vancouver, you're going to have to go play in a setting where they eliminated you as well. Vancouver eliminated LAFC in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, so it's not going to be easy, but all eyes are going to be on Messi and friends now.
Yeah, avoiding a little bit of history being repeated here for Inter Miami, hoping to lift that MLS Cup. But Lizzie, I'm sure we will continue to talk to you throughout these MLS playoffs. Thanks for hanging out.